I woke up this morning with a desperation to sew that I haven't felt in months. So let's tap into it. Hi, I'm Vale. I make vlogs about sewing and living out here in the Colombian countryside. So if that's something that you're interested in, follow along because today we are going to be sewing anything. I think that was really like the urge I felt this morning. I was like, you just have to sew something. And so the only real parameters of this are that because I want to get started immediately, I have to select a fabric that I've already washed and I have to use a pattern that I already have printed. Okay, so the three that I've narrowed that down to are the Clara Dress by Silver Saga Patterns, which is a pattern that I've made probably 4 times now. And what I love about it is that it comes with a set of incredibly detailed instructions. And so I made this dress pretty early on in my sewing kind of career or sort of hobby. And I really learned so much from this pattern. And now I've made it so many times that I just kind of like know it. So I really appreciate this pattern in particular. The second is the Willa dress by Rosie Rowe Patterns. I loved making this dress. There's so many little details that make it feel so elevated. Every time I wear this dress, I get compliments. It is like kind of a statement piece. It's got very big sleeves and just the way that it's gathered and the length. And it's got this sort of way of doing the facing at the bottom or using a facing so that you get like a really thick hem. It's just like so beautiful. It does take a little longer than the other ones on this list, which I think is okay because, again, I don't have much to do and I have to live in the present state that I'm in and get off of my phone and do something. So I'm okay taking a little longer. And again, that is the kind of dress where if you take longer, you start to appreciate how everything's coming together. It's just, I can't explain it other than like, it feels like a completely synchronized sewing experience. So, and I've only made that one time, but I just have such a like fond memory of making that. So I don't know, I'm kind of leaning to that one. The only thing about that one is that you need the right fabric. And that is one of the ways in which the other sort of considerations come at play, because I do have another fabric that I got a few months ago now that's like a stiff cotton that I think is perfect for a Willa dress. It's got a little bit of body, which is something that I think you need in this dress. I think I've seen versions of it where it's a very flowy fabric and it just doesn't have the same effect. No shade, but I do think that I might want to save that pattern for that fabric, which means I need to go wash that fabric and that would probably be like later. So definitely gonna make that. I just don't know if it's gonna be for this round. And then finally, sort of maybe an in-between spot, the Daisy Frock by Lydia Naomi. And I love Lydia Naomi patterns. This is one that's, I think it came out last year. I hope that that's the right name. If not, I'll put the correct one. I've made her dream frock a few times. I love that pattern. And I would say that that's definitely a beginner pattern. And I think the Daisy Frock is more of like an advanced beginner because there's just a lot more details. But what I would say is that you do feel like it is a very well constructed dress when you wear it. Like the quality is unmatched because it's lined. The way that the channels on that dress are made, it's just elegant. Like it's just, the details are there. And her videos are super helpful. So I just usually watch it like all the way once now and then follow along with the paper pattern. But I have one dress that I made off of this pattern and I love that dress. I've worn it several times in many of the videos that I've posted on this account because again, there's like a weight to it. I don't know, it's very well made. And so, okay, so those are the 3 that I'm considering. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through my fabric stash because I do have 3 fabrics from my last video, Fiasco, if you watched that, where my machine broke and I had all this fabric. I do have those ready. I don't know that they're right for this. Those were supposed to be for something else that just didn't end up happening. But again, I don't know. I feel like I sound like a crazy person. I gotta live in the present, okay? And so I have to see if those are the right fabrics for what I'm trying to achieve here. But okay, I also know that in my fabric stash, I have some fabrics that I washed. I do. And I just put them away, but they're ready as well. So I'm gonna go through that first, find the fabrics and maybe walk through and then make a decision. I like don't have a decision. So I am being incredibly brave because my fabric stash lives in this little world over here, and that usually wouldn't be a problem. This is how I had it in Bogota, like it wasn't a problem. But we are in what can be described as a barn. That is my studio. So hold on, let me see if I can show you sort of the roof. Like we're in a barn and it is directly facing the outside world. And so what that means is that while I'm away, which is sometimes a couple of weeks, spider families start to find homes here, and they sometimes start to like lay their eggs in here. And these are things that I've seen, so like I'm just putting that out there. I've witnessed that with my own eyes.
Abran paso, signos vitales, mucho. ¡Rápido que lo perdemos! Resiste, Bodoque, resiste!
So I have been away for a couple of weeks now. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. We'll catch up. But I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna have to do it off camera. Like, that's how serious it is. I need to be ready, like, you know, alert, like no texting while driving vibes. And yeah, but I can do this. Okay, so now we're down to the real fabrics. Here we have a linen as well. It's printed, it's really pretty. I've been saving this in my stash for a really long time. I think that like, I've just been like, oh, it has to be the right project, XYZ. But like, I think it just needs to be a pattern where the fabric is the star. And I think in a Clara dress out of this would be insane because the fabric itself is so perfect. So it would be kind of like sleeves. I do like to wear my Claras kind of off the shoulder. So that's always really cute. And for this kind of weather, I don't know, I think that would be gorge. And I could line parts of it to give it a little bit more body. Anyways, that is a really strong contender. The next is this purple. That's cute. This would have to be lined. I do have a fabric stash over there of like cotton pieces here and there that I use for lining, so I'll use that. But this is definitely like a synthetic type of fabric. I've had, again, this in my stash in a while. That's why I took it out last week, but it's washed. It's really cute. It's kind of like a gingham. I think that this could be really cute in that Lydia Naomi dress that I have mentioned. I could make it a mini dress, so that would be even cuter. I could also make this as a Clara dress. I think if I did make this as a Clara dress, I'd want to shorten the sleeves and make it a mini dress because this is just giving like more of mini dress vibes for me. So I think I would want to make a shorter sleeve and make it shorter in general. So this is probably like the easiest one to work with. I wouldn't be sort of breaking into the fabric that is nicer. And I could make a little Clara dress, little something casual. Okay. Out of these two, I'm gonna go with this one. So I'm just ranking them now. Like, you have to make decisions. Okay, and finally, this is the last one, which is also washed. This is so pretty. It's like a cotton, and I would maybe, it's got a little body, like it's not nothing. I could make a willow dress. No, you know why I can't make a willow dress? Because my other willow dress is polka dot. And like, I think that kind of still reads similar. So, okay, so if I were to use this fabric, I could make the Lydia Naomi one. I feel like that would look really pretty, very elegant. I would probably leave that one long. Yeah. If I were to do it, because that pattern, I could make it a mini or a long. I would maybe make it a long if I were to do this fabric because it is a very special fabric. Is this reading more beach though? Like it's a little bit like should it be a flowier dress? You know what I'm saying? Like, should this be a Clara dress? A little more billowy. Okay, I don't know what this one wants to be. So because of that, we're gonna go here. Okay, we're gonna go here. We're gonna do a short little Clara. It's gonna be fun, flirty, thrivey, etc. And this fabric is super easy to work with. I'm still gonna give it a steam, but like honestly, it doesn't even really wrinkle, so we're up. Okay, at first I was like, I'm not gonna line this because it's kind of, again, a little warm weather, flirty kind of dress. But then I remembered I have this dress that's very similar that is a little bit lined. So the skirt is lined. So everything up here is like, you know, one layer, but the skirt has like the teeniest of little cotton layers, and it gives it this nice little flow. So we're gonna do it. So I'm going to iron out my massive scraps. This is where I pull my lining from, and I still definitely have enough for a skirt. So yeah, let's iron and then catch up, see what's been happening these last couple of weeks. Okay, so where did we leave off? Okay, we left off in my last video with me heading to the US for a work trip. I had been thinking about Bad Bunny all week that week because I'd seen him in Medellin and he was preparing to go to perform at the Super Bowl. So he had not performed yet. And I was writing a Substack about that, more through the lens of how can we learn from this particular album about what it means to know your history, and as a way of knowing your history, build your understanding of community. So it was more through that lens. The performance happened, so that was while I was heading back to the US. I watched that on the plane, which was crazy and funny. And ever since then, I've been in the US. So I think that is where we can pick up. I was in DC for work. I work in education, and so I was meeting up with some clients, and they're just so incredibly smart. I'm working with a couple of scientists on a project. I'm not a scientist, and they're just so smart. I loved that experience. I also I've been to DC, okay? So I've been to DC over the last few years. I went to school in DC. I went to George Washington for undergrad, and even though I've been to DC, especially for work, I haven't actually gone back to campus to sort of like walk through and reminisce or whatever. And this time I did, and I think it was because of Bad Bunny. I don't know, I was just feeling very nostalgic this past week. And so I went back, and I don't know, I was feeling like a little bit, how would you describe nostalgia? Like, would you say it's a happy feeling, or would you say it's kind of a feeling of like some sadness? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think that when I feel nostalgic, sometimes I do feel a twinge of like sad that time is gone. And maybe that's just the human condition. We're always kind of thinking back and thinking forward and not thinking about things in the moment, whatever. But I also feel like it's never a negative kind of sad. Like it's always sort of like I don't know, it feels a little more like inviting to reflection, let's say that. So I was feeling that kind of nostalgia as I was walking through campus, of inviting reflection. And I graduated many moons ago now, probably like 13 years ago this year. And so it's been quite a long time. And I think that one of the questions that I was asking myself was like, what would that girl, because she really was a child, like what would she, I don't know, feel about the life that I'm living now? And I think that the truth that I arrived at, so my truth, is that like, I don't know that when I was in college, I had a very clear picture of what I wanted my life to look like, right? I think I entered college in a state of, I felt confident in my intelligence, and I was like, okay, this is the next step, and I'm gonna ace this, and I aced it. And then I'm gonna go get a job, and I don't know what that job's gonna be. Like maybe I'll be a lawyer, maybe I'll be, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of doubt of like, I'm just gonna put one foot in front of the other and figure it out. But it wasn't necessarily from the place of, I know this is what I wanna do with the rest of my life, and this experience is here to shape that, right? Like, and this is what I want my life to look like in 10 years or whatever. Like, it was never like that. So I don't know that she had any, or that girl, right, when I was in college, had any particular, like she would be like, oh no, that's not what I wanted, right? No. But I do think that she was somebody who liked to have fun, and I definitely still have a lot of fun in my life. And I think that she was very optimistic about the future of the world. And I think that that's something that is now being called, or I know that that's something being called millennial optimism. And that's really what it felt like. Like it was just that kind of vibe of like, you could pick up your stuff and move to New York, and you can like go and and fight for social issues, and like things are gonna get better, and you can voice your opinion, and you can tell people when they're being problematic, and you can go have fun with your friends on a $35,000 salary, and you could pay rent, and you could, right? And so like, because that was my salary when I graduated college, right? And so, yeah, I think that maybe is the part that I was the most sad about, was like that feeling of hope that, you know, things were going to be okay, even though we had gone through the recession, even though we knew it was going to be harder for millennials, like even though we knew all these things to be true, there was still this belief that like things were at least going to be fun, okay, and we were still going to have a story about it. And I think that is the thing that I want to get back to this year, where it's like I need to feel that level again of like, you know, things are really bad, but there's got to be a way forward. And like, I don't know, if you're a millennial and you feel like you've been asleep the last couple of years because of the pandemic, and you entered the pandemic when you were 26, and now you look around and you're 32 and you're like, whoa, how did that happen so quickly? I think that it's okay to reminisce on those moments and how you felt, because we did really have it really good, right? Like if you're a millennial, like sound off in the comments, because I do think that like, even though things were difficult, it was fun. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And there was hope, and people wanted to treat each other kindly, at least on the surface. And we all just wanted to like get in a room together and listen to our recession music and just like, yeah, that's actually a hopeful statement. I feel like this is a hopeful catch up, and I hope people are getting that, because I just want to sort of name that like, sometimes it's good to think back on moments of your life that you could say were happy moments and good moments, and think about like, okay, how would that version of me want to be living right now? Probably not at this level of anxiety, right? Like of deep, deep anxiety about the world. So that is part of what I was journaling about this week when I was journaling for Lunar New Year. I'm considering this sort of the start of my year. I love Lunar New Year for that same exact reason. It just feels like January is always kind of crazy, and February for me feels like a more natural place to slow down and reflect on what I want to be true for my year. And I want that to be true. I want that feeling back of, it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And there's more people who think like you than people who don't. And it is going to be fun, because we are on this life to live one life. And sometimes my anxiety can rob me of that, but we're going to work on it, right? We're going to stay on the horse this year or whatever. Yeah, so that's really what I've been up to. I am now here, back in the country, and I don't have to be in the US again until the end of March. It is February 18th. Oh my gosh, it's February 18th. So I have some time to sort of reset and to like get back to a base level of human. I've been doing a lot of travel for work and for family and the holidays, and then we like did the Bad Bunny trip. It's just been like a lot. So I feel like now I will have some time to, you know, recenter myself and also do some sewing. Like I'm so excited. Lucy, that's a bug. I am like brimming with excitement for sewing. My surgery got fixed. Everything is here in the house. Everything's organized, and I have a lot of ideas of little projects, and I have a ton of fabric to go through. I'm going to go through my whole stash before even entertaining the thought of buying more fabric. I also have a lot of clothes that I have been setting aside to potentially upcycle, and I haven't done a lot of upcycling in my sewing journey. I've kind of become more of like a sew from scratch kind of person, but I think that now, because I'm going to be working to my stash, it gives me the opportunity to do some of those upcycle projects that I have saved and pinned on my Pinterest. Okay, this fabric is ready. Again, it didn't really need much. I'm gonna go find the pattern and cut out the pattern pieces. We are in my soon-to-be office that is still a disaster, because this is where I've been keeping my patterns. This is how I keep my patterns. This is like the most type B thing about me, but I do know there are better ways to do this. Like I do need to get more organized, and that's why I've been leaving them here, because I know that this isn't how I want them to exist in this world. I want them to be more organized. I can get a folder, like I can get a binder with slots, etc. Like there are ways that I've seen that people store their patterns, and either way, you're gonna have to iron it out when you want to use it. And again, I really just want to get to projector sewing. Anyway, here are all my patterns. I have more over there. I actually realized I have so many patterns that are printed, and I have many that are not printed because they got damaged, so I had to throw them out, etc. But I just love patterns. Like if you're somebody who's trying to sew and you're struggling and you're trying to self-draft, like I want you to turn your attention to patterns. Like I am somebody who loves rules, and that is a part of my personality that I think I spent a long time trying to deny about myself. I definitely tried to be all like cool girl, you know, like gone girl, cool girl. And the reality is I love rules. Like if you can read, you can follow a rule. Like there are no excuses. If you can read, you can follow a rule. Now, if you need to sort of break that up and do a couple things at a time, and then like, that's fine. But if you always come back down to the document that has rules or the video, you will be successful if you have a good pattern. So all three of the patterns that I mentioned earlier are really well written patterns. The rules are super clear, and they all have phenomenal YouTube videos that accompany that so that you're not feeling lost at any part of the sewing process. So yeah, I'm gonna go through this and find the Silver Saga pattern that I'm looking for. The Clara dress already has an A-line, and I actually used this skirt on the Eleonora dress. And I love how those two go together. But anyway, so there are actually no modifications to the skirt for this pattern for me. So again, very easy pattern. No modifications so far other than shortening the sleeve a little bit. We have all of the pieces, the lining, the front, etc. done. And I have to go to work. So I will be back in the afternoon to hopefully do some sewing. It's a pretty straightforward dress. The one thing I do need to do is I need to thread my serger. I just got it back from repairs, so I'm hoping it will be seamless, but I just want to like get that done with. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish this dress tonight. We'll see. Okay, the next part of the work is to create the channels for the elastic. Usually this takes a long time because you have to trace everything out. And I usually use like a tool to make a dent, and then I go with chalk and like even it all out because the channel has to be perfect. Otherwise it all looks very lopsided. But because this is gingham, I am just winning today because I can just sort of hold up the notch to the fabric, mark it, find the little square that matches, and then just draw a line straight across. So yeah, this is much easier to work with when making elastic channels. So I've actually already marked up, you can see there, where the channels start, and then it goes down one. So I'm gonna just go through and mark this up as a line so that it's super visible, and I'm gonna use pre-made bias tape for the channel because I'm just feeling like it today. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Boom. Again, this was super easy because I just had to follow the line. And so now, and you can't tell that I used this bias tape on the other side. It's kind of, because of the checkerboard pattern, I just don't think that you can see it. So now I'm gonna sew these down, and I have the back as well. So actually, this is the start of sewing. It's always crazy how much there is to do before you even touch your machine. Before I do this though, then I should probably thread my serger and just get it over with. It is sitting over there. Let's see if you can see it. It's all the way over there in the back. And she's just been waiting for me to thread her. It's time now. So let's do it. Okay, I got my machine threaded, my serger threaded, which is like a Christmas miracle. And then I started to put together the pattern pieces, and I realized that the top and the skirt, I cut them separately because that's how they were on my pattern pieces, which makes sense because earlier I told you how I used the skirt for a different pattern. So I must have cut the skirt off because it's supposed to be one piece, like the top and the bottom is one piece. So, okay, whatever. It's fine. I don't know how I made that mistake. I mean, I guess I do know because I just explained how it happened, but it's not really that big a deal. I'm gonna sew, so I already pinned the skirt and the top together. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna do is sew the skirt to the top, and then we will have one whole piece. So just added an extra step because was feeling cute about it. I don't know. And then I'm gonna serge. I'm gonna try my serger for the first time in months, and hopefully it's working well. I'm gonna serge all across all sides of the front piece. Then I'm gonna serge all sides of the back piece, and then I'm gonna unite them. So pretty straightforward. Again, it would be even easier if this had just been one pattern piece, which is what the pattern instructions and pattern printing intended originally, but all right, let's do it. Time to sew. Okay, it is the next day, and I actually did a lot last night. Also, it is February 20th. Like, it's fully February 20th, and yesterday I was like, it's February 18th. I'm like so lost these days, for real. But anyway, let me show you what I did yesterday. Okay, so I pretty much finished the lining. So the whole inside is lined. And I serged everything and I ironed everything. And so on the inside, we've got a fully finished lining on all sides. And then this sort of, I guess, the channels that I haven't attached yet. So that's why you see all the pins. And that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna attach the channels, or the bias tape that is working as a channel, and I'm going to sew that all the way around with a little opening so that I can insert the elastic later. I'm not even looking at directions on this pattern, which is obviously why I'm making little mistakes here and there, but I do remember, I don't know, I'm going to wing it, but I do think I remember that even though they sew the channels down first, they attach the sleeves before inserting any elastic. And that makes sense because once you insert the elastic, it gets all bunched up and that's just like difficult to work with. So yeah, I'm moving along. I think I'm gonna finish this in the next couple of hours. So that's cool. I also don't know how long I want it. I think right now it is a good length to make those decisions. I like a shorter mini dress, so we'll see. I finished the bottom of the lining with just like my serger, so if anything I could just cut off with the serger maybe a couple more inches of the lining, and then maybe I could give this a pretty thick hem, which I think always looks really fancy. But yeah, I like a short dress. Let me actually show you the dress I'm wearing now, because this is the inspiration for this particular little mock-up, because this is like gingham and this is gingham, and this is kind of like bunched up here, but this is with elastic thread. And this has like an actual elastic channel, which I think always looks a little bit nicer. So yeah, this is the dress I'm trying to mimic. I bought this dress like 4 years ago, I think on ASOS, and I wear it so much. I just haven't been wearing it in videos because it was at my mom's house, so I just picked it up in Miami. But anyway, I wear this dress so much. I think that in one of my future projects in the next few weeks, maybe I'm gonna try to clone it. Again, it's a little bit difficult because it's shirring, so I don't always know how to copy or like duplicate something when it has shirring, because I'm like, how long do you make, right? So I think I'm just gonna have to do a little bit of research there. I think that the parts that I enjoy the most about this dress are definitely the sleeves, and then the skirt, which is in an interesting cut. It's just, and it's got, again, this littlest bit of lining underneath to give it a little volume. And then I would also say the interesting thing is probably that the fabric has a little body. It is synthetic. It's definitely like a polyester of sort. So, but I do have synthetic fabrics in my stash because, I don't know, I didn't know a lot when I was buying fabric at first. Okay, so I think it would be probably a good way to use that up. Anyways, let's get back to this project. Okay, time for a little update. What has been going on? Well, I finished attaching all of the channels. That's done. And then I was like, okay, cute. Like, all I have to do now is attach the sleeves. But do you remember how I switched out the sleeves for the Lydia Naomi sleeve? So then I was like, wait, this isn't just gonna like fit in with the, little armhole for the original dress. So I don't know. I feel like I had to take a little break. I went to have lunch, but then I remembered I was like, okay, wait, I've done the Lydia Naomi sleeves a lot because, like I said, I've made her dream frock before, but I've also done the dream frock several times. And so this seems like pretty much the same sleeve, just a little bigger. And so I'm not going to look at directions. I am going to go right sides together. Yeah, right sides together. Oh my God. Right sides together, sew down the edge of the sleeve, serge it, and then I'm going to gather the top part of the sleeve where you like kind of insert it. I'm going to gather it, and then I'm going to kind of like press it so that there's a channel. And then I'm going to connect that channel with the dress channel, if that makes sense. So maybe I actually should, okay, new order of events. I'm going to sew the sleeve closed. I am going to do the gathering stitch so that the gathering stitch is kind of sitting there. Then I'm going to attach it, well, I'm going to serge it. And then I'm going to attach it to the dress, and then I will attach it without making the channel because I still need to make a channel in the neckline of this. So I'm just going to attach the sleeve so it's all just united, and then I will gather and make a little channel, but it'll be more uniform all the way across. Does that make sense? Because it'll all be kind of united, kind of like the original pattern. I love how the steps that I take to get to the final result are just the steps in the pattern if I would have done it correctly. But I feel like kind of hell-bent on not looking at directions, and I know I've been saying that, but it's all jumbled up together in my brain, okay? I feel like, yes, there's been this nostalgia, XYZ, whatever, but I also do feel like one of the things that I miss the most was like my brain. Like I feel like I know that I'm falling victim to a lot of the things that a lot of us are, and I'm not using my brain to its full capacity. And so it's like moments like this where I love sewing, where I'm like, okay, just figure it out. You've done this before. You know how to put a sleeve in. You've used this type of sleeve before. And yes, I could avoid all of this, but in not avoiding it, I'm also practicing like the things that I should know. Like I should have this down. It shouldn't be something that I even have to think about. And you only get there through practice. So yeah, let's go ahead and try to attach these sleeves. Okay, it is like 6 in the morning. I can hear the roosters from my neighbors. But I slept as much as I could sleep, and also I've just been really excited to finish because I got really ahead last night and I am at the final touches. So let me show you sort of how far we've gone. Okay, so yesterday I finished up all the channels. I did the channels for the cuff because that one has like a little ruffle. I inserted the elastic to like the top part, or the neckline more accurately. I finished all of the casings for the elastic on the inside. The lining is in. So I just need to put the elastic in on the casings, on the sleeve, and then I need to try it on. I think once I try it on, I will be able to see, like, does the elastic feel good? Does it feel like too tight, etc.? Is it even? And then if everything looks good, I can close up all of those sort of spaces I left open to insert the elastic, and then I can hem it. So when I try it on, I also want to see the length and see sort of how I'm feeling. Hopefully it's nothing Like, hopefully I don't have to shorten it anymore. So I can just do sort of like a serge and like a double hem. But again, if I do want it shorter, I am going to have to cut the lining down and then hem the top. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm on those final steps. And I should be done probably within the next hour. Yeah, I am also very slow. So it's like, I've said that before. I really take my time. I think anybody who has experience and considers himself a fast sewist could have done this project in a couple of hours. Like, it's pretty simple. But I don't know. I like to move slow. That way I make sure that I don't make as many mistakes, because I still make mistakes. Also, as I was putting the sleeve in yesterday, this is the inside like leftover sleeve. So I folded it in, and this is like the way that it made sense. But all this excess fabric is in here. So that's another reason I'm going to try it on. And if I try it on and it fits well, then I'm going to just serge this off, like cut it off and serge it. So yeah, I still make a lot of mistakes, but okay. Another reason I'm up early is because on Saturdays, the new episode of RuPaul's, drops, and I did watch a spoiler last night. I'm so sad because it seems like Mia went home, and I'm from Miami. I just, like, my Miami girls were up. Like, even the Athena hate was so forced to me. Like, the Miami girls were doing so well this season. I don't know who beat Mia in a lip sync. Like, I don't know. I didn't see the lip sync. All I saw was like Mia's post on Instagram kind of saying like her goodbyes. And I was like, no. So anyway, I'm going to watch now. But Mia, you are a star, okay? I want you to know that. I want everybody to know that. You killed it in that lip sync. Oh shit, a bug. Okay. Whoa. I legitimately don't know where that bug went. So we just live here together now. Like, it is what it is. Anyways, let me show you from afar how it's looking. Cute. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to finish this up. On RuPaul this week, it's Snatch Game. So I'm watching the Snatch Game Love Island. It is so funny. I feel like people who are killing it are definitely like the Pope. Was not expecting that. David Attenborough. It's so funny. Okay, I'm done, I think. Okay. Now, I think one thing that I want to do is loosen up the elastic on the sleeve. It's not that it's tight. It's just that if I can make it maybe a little bit bigger, I can move it around better and poof up those sleeves. But it's really cute. Hold on, let me see the length. I feel like that's the thing that I'm like, is this too, oh my God, don't look at my Birkenstocks. Okay, I feel like maybe the length is good. Yeah, because I'm going to hem it. I do think I need to probably shorten the lining if I'm going to, it's probably going to be like right there. Otherwise, anyway, I think the length is good. So it's not too short. But maybe I'll take like an inch off of it. We'll see. Other than that, though, really cute little dress. Just very casual. I gotta iron it. Okay, I'm gonna go take a little bit of a closer look, but I think that that's the only change I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the size of the elastic here on the sleeves. And then I'm going to hem it. And then that's it. Okay, it's done. I could wear it like this, or I could wear it sort of off the shoulders. I'm going to show you a video at the end of me wearing it, and you can see the whole thing, the length, etc. So we'll call that the final footage. For now, I just want to say thanks for coming along on this journey with me. I love this pattern. I love this dress. It is such an easy breezy type of dress that I can wear around here. I'm actually going to wear it today on a hike, and that's what I will show you. But yeah, thanks for following along. If this is something that you've enjoyed, subscribe, and I will share more of my sewing with you. Next up, I am going to be making the Willa dress. I've washed my fabric. It's ready. I'm going to start on that probably today. So really excited for that. And I also have some home sewing coming up. I want to do some sewing around the house. I have some projects like curtains and desk accessories and wall accessories, things like that, that I want to jump into. So yeah, all of that is coming up in my channel. See you later. Bye.